to my show. I'm live on 910 AM Superstation, a Dale Media broadcast. I like to thank my viewers. I like to thank my listeners. And I like to thank my guests. I'd like to introduce you to a person who you're very familiar with. He's not just a guest. He's a colleague. He has a show here on 910 AM every Saturday. In fact, he'll be coming on tonight. Judge, introduce yourself. Tell us about your show.
Good afternoon, Detroit and the surroundings. This is Wade McCree, formerly of the Circuit Court, and now live on 910 AM Superstation.
And I forgot to say that this is Detroit's largest voice for African Americans. So we're going to talk about today something that's near and dear to my heart. As you all know, I'm a criminal defense attorney. And I deal a lot with narcotics, a lot with drug busts, a lot with drug lords, different cartels, different gangs, different groups. And we're going to talk about El Chapo today. Judge, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's interesting how the man up top, who's probably responsible for all types of heinous offenses, maybe some of it inflated, but nevertheless, even in custody, lives better than many of the people on the streets.
And has a nerve to have a complaint.
That's right.
For those of you who are not familiar with El Chapo is a Mexican drug lord. He is currently in Mexico. He is seeking extradition, indicating that he is being mistreated there in Mexico. He has broken out of prison, not one, but
twice.
Exactly. How did he break out, Judge?
Well, I think there's a lot that's not being told, but I have to believe there has to be some inside help. These two convicts in upstate New York, it turns out they did have some inside help. When you saw that tunnel that El Chapo went through, I mean, he had everything but Amtrak and, and room service. I mean, this wasn't anything that he dug out, with a toothpick over 15 years in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
He was gone in, tens of weeks. And this tunnel looked like it was something that was done in a Hollywood movie. I'm sure they're arguing the screenplay rights for it right now.
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, he had the money to buy the necessary guards, the necessary help that he needed. Did you know he made $3 billion alone just in cocaine sales?
No, I didn't know that. I wonder how they would prove it, but I'm sure that it's some way that they feather it down into how much they contribute that he has exported from South America. And I assume, as in most narcotic cases, the United States is probably his single greatest customer.
Absolutely. Tell us about extradition. For our viewers, for our listeners who do not know, what is extradition and what is the process to extradite?
I used to run the extradition docket quite a bit over there at Wayne County Circuit Court. In short, it is this. If you are committed a crime in location A and you are somehow taken into custody in location B, the law enforcement officials in location A can ask that you be brought back to them. And that is, they are to be extradited. Someone is to be brought back to you. And likewise, you can seek extradition if you are someplace and believe you should be somewhere else. You can petition. But it's usually a very, very tricky thing. Some people believe they should be released and be allowed to self-surrender. I'll answer for my crimes here in America. I assume that can't be the case with El Chapo. Obviously, he likes to stay on the run.
Yes. Now, when we talk about extradition, what is it? What if you're wanted by 5 states? What state trumps? If I have a murder case in California, I have a drug case in New York, I have a solicitation case in Pontiac, what state gets to come pick me up first?
And therein lies the quandary. You've hit the nail on the head, and that's why El Chapo was in the news. No, First of all, feds trump everything. I think everyone knows that if you have a federal offense, they get to come get you and do what with you as they see fit. Now, the real issue is what happens when 5 states, technically all of equal footing, have a right to your behind.
Absolutely.
And there it is. All right. Each state, naturally, their laws say that they trump. And there's first in time, as we know, as we in first year criminal courses. The state that has the first warrant.
Wait. We don't know what first in time is. Our viewers, our listeners,
I'm
they
sorry.
Don't know.
I'm sorry. Wherever the first offense was committed, they say he was on the run from us first. We have the oldest warrant. Therefore, we have the superior claim. And of course, that's primacy. And of course, some people recency. We have him now. The jurisdiction says, look, we caught him now. We expended our resources to take him down. He's ours. You get him after us.
So if I'm here and I'm in Michigan because I've committed a crime and Michigan decides they don't want to release me and another state calls and says, hey, I want to come get Attorney Reed. She's committed a crime. What if Michigan refuses to release me? How does that work?
And this happens all the time. Michigan may say, no, you will be tried here first. We'll be more than happy to give you up after you answer to your offense here. And as I said earlier, it is our resources that brought you in. I know you're wanted by someone somewhere else and by someone else, but why should they be the benefactor of our labor? If our law enforcement agency brought you into custody, why say, oh, thank you for doing our job, we'll just take Miss Reed back now? No, you give Miss Reed after we're done with our pound of flesh.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want you guys to call. I want the listeners to call 313-209-9000, 313-209-9000. If you have a question about extradition, if you have a question about what's going on in the El Chapo case. Judge, do you know, in fact, how many states actually want El Chapo?
That I haven't a clue. I would imagine anyone could probably lay claim that some of their narcotics trafficking is attributed directly to this guy.
Yeah, I think it's about 5. I think right now it's actually 5 states indicating that they want him. But what I find...
The entire Southwest, I take it.
Yeah, I think it's Texas, Chicago, New York.
Got to be California, Arizona,
Miami,
New Mexico.
California, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely Florida, sure.
What do you think about his ability or inability to negotiate? It's my understanding that he's saying, I'll come back to America if you guys give me a short sentence and a medium secure facility.
He wants club fed. Remember they talk about when some of a certain prior administration's hierarchy were all of a sudden going to prison in great numbers, all these contractors who earned all this money, and they went to these minimum security federal prisons nevertheless. But what did that one man say on TV? He said, I can do everything on the inside that you can do on the outside except drive a car and get with a woman. He said, I can have anything. I can have any food.
And they can make a woman in prison.
They'll
make you a woman.
I bet you El Chapo gets his conjugal visits, depending on who he is. There was one of the Bush cronies who went to a prison, wanted to build a swimming pool, an exercise pool. The prison, look, I'll pay for it. I'm doing 40. So I'm a billionaire. Why shouldn't I be able to lay? They go, no. This isn't a resort.
Absolutely.
It's a prison. He said, look, I'll maintain it. I'll pay the upkeep on it, the piping, the contracting, the whole business. And the Fed said, no, it's not like that. Well, El Chapo has that kind of money. It sounds like he's trying to buy his time. He said, I'll roll over for a short sentence, provided I get it solved.
But
Pookie and Ray Ray don't get that deal. Yes.
Exactly. Technically and procedurally, though, how can he can't negotiate. It's a jurisdictional issue. Right. For example, if my client pleads to a drug charge or a narcotic charge, he can't say what facility he wants to go to.
Correct.
I want to go to Manistee, Michigan. I don't want to go to Jackson Prison. So procedurally, do you think that El Chapo will avail trying to negotiate a certain prison and a certain prison level security? And what is that procedurally here in Michigan?
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, first of all, I know he's not wanted here in Michigan, or at least as far as I know, there is no federal district of Michigan warrant or a state warrant of any kind here. What I would have imagined if he wanted to lay down is that everyone would have to come to the table, and that he would have to take a plea to a federal case, go in Fed with the condition that all of the state cases have to lay down and give in to that. But for a negotiation like that, it's going to take a lot more than just money.
And I think that any type of negotiation like that will be wholly unfair to the American citizens, because it's my understanding that he has a murder charge in Texas. And as we know, if you're convicted on a murder charge, that's life. So why is it that an individual who is not even a resident or a citizen of our country would like a better treatment than the actual citizens get? If my little brother is convicted of drug trafficking, if my little brother is convicted of any type of narcotics possession, he's going to go to jail.
He's
gone. Not going to get to pick the prison that he goes to. So I like to talk about some of the implications of drug trafficking, some of the convictions of drug trafficking. How are you charged with drug trafficking? Some of the international laws. And we're going to do that right after the break. I'll see you soon.
Have your constitutional rights been violated by illegal search or seizure of your motor vehicle or home? Did you know that every parent has a fundamental right of parenting, which includes visitation? Call me to get the rights you deserve. I'm attorney TataNisha Reed. Innocent until proven guilty is your right, not just the same. My team of legal professionals will work aggressively to advocate your criminal and family matters and get your life back on track.
For a greater chance to succeed in your time of need, call attorney TataNisha Reed.
I am on 910 AM Radio Superstation, Detroit's largest voice for African Americans. Give us a call if you have any questions about drug trafficking, if you have any questions about the controlled substance laws, federal laws, state laws. 313-209-9000. 313-209-9000. Here I am again, Attorney TataNisha Reed, and I have a guest, the former Wayne County Circuit Court Judge, Wade McCree. Welcome back, Judge.
Oh, it's good to be back. All right.
So, during this segment, we're going to talk about some of the controlled substance laws. Judge, what is the difference between drug trafficking and possession and drug use?
The huge difference is absolutely the trafficking. Drug use or drug possessions, some are even misdemeanors. And, of course, the marijuana cases that we're still fighting about, all the legalization, decriminalization, has now gotten to the point in most jurisdictions, simple possession without, as they say, the intent to deliver, or for our listeners, to share, use, sell, or interact with another person while you hold the drug, are almost all misdemeanors. Once you get into the delivery or the interaction with another person, now we're almost always into the felony, and then as you get to the trump card here, you get to trafficking.
My concern is this. The same way people buy it is the same way they possess it. So let's say I'm a cocaine user. I buy 10 baggies of cocaine, not because I want to sell it, but because I want to use it. The police officers pull me over. They see 10 baggies of cocaine. They're going to say possession with intent to deliver.
Absolutely. 99% of the time.
So
absolutely.
How do we delineate? How do we tell the difference between a person who's a heavy drug user or a person who's actually selling?
You got to one of the soft spots that I have. I am so tired of these cases, and I used to get into battles with prosecutors over them. The intent to deliver is evident, and I'll give you the obvious. They observe the street corner buy. Okay, I don't have any problem with that. Absolutely. What I have a problem with is packaging, and the example I always use is beer. Hear me out. If I buy a 40-ounce beer, that's a lot of beer. I could sit here and drink a 40 by myself, or if I'm with my boy, he and I could each take a swig on it if we did one a little back. All right, fine. If I buy a six-pack, I can drink all 6 cans myself, or I could share that with somebody. It depends, am I with somebody or do I have it all by myself? If I wheel in a keg, you know I'm sharing that with other people, and I don't think there's any problem with that. I have an issue. I don't have an issue with the weight.
Wait. What if I buy a keg because it's more cost effective and I like to drink that keg over the course of a month?
Very true, but then you possess it in your home. I'm talking about someone, how is someone with a keg in their house going to be viewed by the authorities? That'd be difficult. The same thing with the amount of narcotics. I don't have so much a problem with pure weight. When they say, okay, once you get beyond a certain weight, if they say, okay, for instance, 454 grams or 1 pound for us raised on the English system, if you have over a pound of a certain substance, I would say that there's probably, a good, you are sharing this in some capacity with somebody else. I would have a hard time to believe that someone is possessing a pound of a narcotic for their own use. But you hit the nail on the head when you talked about packaging. If I have 10 single servings, these are just my rationed 10 individual hits, for lack of a better word. Unless you witness me in the presence of another person with that interaction, I do not believe that that there's even probable cause for the intent to deliver. If a routine traffic stop with a solo occupant motor vehicle and they have multiple hits of narcotic, I absolutely do not believe that's intent to deliver. I don't care if there's 15, 20, I don't care if there's 25 of them. If you don't get beyond X weight, I don't think intent to deliver should even be a part of it.
But don't you agree that most judges and most prosecutors signed the warrant on intent to deliver, and most judges bind over on intent to deliver simply because of packaging?
You are absolutely 100% correct. I'd say the overwhelming majority do, and I know I was in the minimum when I would dismiss a count or break a count down from intent to deliver to a simple possession, and people would run to curse me out and appeal me. I say, fine, it's a routine traffic stop with a single occupant in a motor vehicle. Show me a street corner buy. Show me a buy that's made at the bus stop. Show me a buy that's made in the parking lot. I'll give you the intent to deliver. Or even the possession in the parking lot, and he's standing there talking to somebody as if they're doing the negotiation. But without any indicia of another person interacting with your stash, you got to give me more than that for possession. I'm sorry.
Again, as a defense attorney, I 100% agree with you. We're going to go to the caller, but before we do, I think because you are such an advocate for the underdog, because you are an advocate for the impoverished, I think that may be one of the reasons that they kind of came after you so hard, because the powers that be do not want to advocate for individuals who are less fortunate. And that's always been your position. And I think that you didn't get the mercy and grace that you deserve. And I just wanted to say that. Let's go to the caller.
Let's get our caller, please. Go ahead.
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
Yes. Thank you very much for taking my call. Ma'am, I want to address my question to His Honorable the Judge.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
How are you doing today, Judge?
I am very well, Jerry, and yourself.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your service. Thank you for this show, because this is to serve our citizens, to keep them away from drugs and everything. About the El Chapo judge, I do believe a lot of poison, a lot of drugs came to our kids, the American people over here. So my question here, Judge, do you think in general the American citizen could file a general lawsuit against this drug lord? Yes or no? I like your answer. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I think that's an intriguing answer. For lack of better words, shall I call it a citizens class action, where if the citizens want to chime up and say, look, we need to bring a charge against this person? Well, technically, that is why we have our elected officials and the prosecutorial branch of both the state and federal government to do that. It would be the attorney general's job, or the U.S. or the state attorney general, to say this person, for lack of better word, is a menace to our society, and he has poisoned the offspring of our community with his infiltration of his drugs. Tough to prove. Yes. Yeah, and there it is.
And it has to be a nexus. How do we know it's the drug that El Chapo brought into America? It could be the drug that Ray brought into America.
Any other cartel.
Any other cartel. So it would be very difficult to prove the nexus between what our children are using and where they got the drug from, particularly if El Chapo had never been to our state, A, and B, if they have their own dealer. Yeah. Did that answer your question, Jerry?
But I agree with you, Jerry. I'd like to see one of these other states do that. If El Chapo is a wanted man for not the murder, but for a trafficking charge in any other state, then somebody has enough evidence to at least do a warrant for a trafficking.
Yes, my things over here. Yes, I agree with everything. But about the drugs, if it comes from El Chapo or not, there's an old say if you want to get the snake, and I'm sorry, I'm not against the snake. They say if you want to get the snake, get her from the head. Mm-hmm. So we have to go to the source of the drugs that come into our country.
True.
And to poison our kids, no different than our children who they've been poisoned with the lead contaminated water in the great city of Flint. I believe what happened in Flint also, Judge, is a genocide against the humanity over there, and everybody, every official elected, they should be coming and to be asked and questioned from the governor to the senator to the congressman. And I hope what happened in Flint won't happen in any other cities. Thank you for your service, and God bless you.
Thank you, Jerry. Go
and you know what I was going to say, and one of the reasons I do agree with Jerry, and I don't think that El Chapo should get this deduction or decrease in sentencing, is because he did bring a lot of drugs. He did poison our children. He's the reason, because with drugs comes what? Guns. It comes murder. It comes blood on the street. It comes robbery. It's not just drugs. This system,
depreciated property values.
Yes, these crimes are married.
Absolutely.
You never generally get a person with drugs who doesn't have a gun. So now you have a felony firearm. Now you do have children in foster care, because you have children whose parents are pulled out of the house because they're drug addicted. They're cross addicted. So no, El Chapo should not get all these concessions because he can't sleep. Did you read the article when he said, I need to come to America because I can't sleep. They're waking me up every 2 hours. They're waking me up every 4 hours. Well, gosh darn it, you should be woke up every 1 hour.
That's right.
Because you broke out of 2 prisons, not 1.
And he should sleep on a floor of nails, because no, he doesn't deserve it. To you beg mercy. What's that old saying? The boy who murders both of his parents and then throws himself on the mercy of the court because he's an orphan. No, you can't claim that you've poisoned the public, like this. I mean, not that he claims. If these are the charges against him, and he's trying to say, well, you can't prove this, you can't prove that, you can't. Well, man, you can't prove to me that you're being treated harsher than any other prisoner in here. And quite frankly, he's treated better than most. Instead of getting the 8x5 cell, his cell is, 150 square feet. He almost has, a guard that's all but, the concierge desk to him.
He was visiting his family for an hour and a half. No, he was visiting his lawyer for an hour and a half a day. He was visiting his family every day. Now he's complaining that his visits are only 4.5 hours every 9 days with his family. That's more than the average citizen.
The average criminal over in Wayne County, you get your 30 minutes a day for your hygiene, for your for your bathing, and you get your 2 exercise periods in a week, and your 2 1-hour visitations each week, and that's it. And these are county cases. This isn't someone who's in federal detention, having been a flight risk and a fugitive.
Absolutely. And when you talk about federal prison, you have different laws. State and federal have different laws. I am very grateful that now they're making it discretionary in terms of when you go to federal court, how to charge on a cocaine case. If you have crack cocaine, the time was much higher than if you had pure cocaine.
Exactly. Yeah, your powdered versus rock, even the same weight. Even the same weight. The rock's got you many times more the amount of time than just the powdered cocaine.
And I think that's simply a black man's law. I think what that law was designed to do was incarcerate African Americans, because as we know, who sells the crack cocaine? Who purchases the crack cocaine? And I'm not saying that our white counterparts don't, but individuals who have the powder cocaine are clearly in a different socioeconomic class.
So, Sam, I heard your grandma say they're donating that car to Charity Motors. Yeah. Said they're getting a full fair market tax deduction for it?
I do not know what that means.
It means we get whatever it's worth as a tax deduction, right when we donate it.
Nope, not getting it.
It means we get money for it. So does the charity we pick. And the car goes half off to someone who really needs it.
Dollar bills, Sam. Whoop, whoop. Charity Motors.
Yep.
Going to do? He's going to give up the names of every cartel big man in the world? I don't think so.
Now, that's a good one, though. That's a good one. And
no snitches.
We have to always respect that, because El Chapo, he's old school. I get a client right now, and that client can have 4 grams of drugs. And if the police say, tell me all of your contacts, they're going to snitch and sing like a whistle. But the old school drug dealers, the cartel, the mafia, they follow the rules. And you realize ever since El Chapo has been detained, we haven't had any other arrests. We haven't had any additional arrests. Ruby is on the line, and we're going to answer Ruby's question extremely fast because we're tying up now.
All right,
Hi, Ruby, how are you?
Good evening. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you. You have a question for my guest. Go for it.
Yes, McCree.
Yes.
I have a question about back child support.
Go ahead.
Now, with my ex-husband, we got married in '68, and separated in '69, but then we got back together 2 years later. But to make a long story short, he was paying child support at St. Murphy Harley Justice. Okay.
Right.
He left out of town. In 1975 to 77. Between those 2 years, I couldn't locate him, so I eventually Social Service tried to locate him. And they had looked him up and found out he had moved to Texas, right?
Ruby, you're going to have to speed your question up because it's almost time for our show to end.
Okay. Well, when they found out where he was, they asked me if they have a problem locating him because he owed me back child support. And they didn't ever get back with them until my daughter was almost 18. How can I get my money?
Oh, that's going to be tough. Okay, is he still in Texas? He still lives out of state?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have a hard time. No, you are going to have to sue him out of state. If you know where he lives, you're going to have to bring process against him in the state of Texas. You want the state of Michigan to do it criminally because he's not paid his child support. But I'm telling you, as short as our resources are in this state, they're not going to go after him. That's just, it's just the truth. They need to, yes, but there just aren't enough government resources to track down this many deadbeats, especially one who's 40 plus years. You said 75. No, I'm sorry, but Ruby, it's going to be on you, and you're going to have to find a way to sue him out of state. And I'm sorry.
And this is where the extradition process should prevail.
And that's what extradition should go to. Yes, it should.
This is what extradition is for.
Yeah, that's what it's. Amen. It should be for that. Ruby, you shouldn't have to do it. But that's what it's going to come down to. Because if you're waiting on someone from the state of Michigan to go get this man, it ain't going to happen.
And we thank you for calling, Ruby. Have a great day. Now, Judge, and that's what burns my bridges. When you have true extradition cases and we're not extraditing. Now, I've had several felony non-support cases. In fact, I had a case yesterday where they're extraditing from Louisville, from a district court. He was taken to a district court on a traffic ticket. They had a little sticky on his file and said Louisville wants him. Now, Louisville said they're going to come for him on a felony non-support matter. And just at the end of the show, if we're going to talk about felony non-support, again, I think felony non-support is ridiculous. I think it's a civil matter. I think it's used to criminalize individuals and shackle them with felonies. If an individual is not paying their child support, the court still has contempt power. If it remains civil, you can still lock the individual up, you can still put him in jail, and you can still make him pay.
But you can spare him a felony on his record so he can still get a job.
Yes, to criminalize child support, I don't know when we start legislating babies, who I can have sex with. It goes to the morality issue that you're going to talk about
tonight. It's debtor's prison.
Yep, exactly. Indentured servitude. What are we doing and what are we talking about here? I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think we should be writing our legislature. I think it's also
It was Mike Cox's baby. He wanted it and he got it.
He did, but it's ways for women to lure and hold things over men's head. If you don't pay this child support, you're getting a felony and I'm putting you in jail. Now, I'm not minimizing the importance of taking care of your children.
Very true.
I'm not minimizing the importance of paying support.
Correct.
I don't
you made
want
the baby,
my
you
tax
made the money.
dollars
There it is.
to go up because the state is taking care of all these children.
Absolutely.
I just don't think it should be criminalized. Again, like I said, I think that the courts can still use their contempt power.
I know. I think so. Well, I think so. I see we're getting to the end, but no, I agree with you.
Yeah, Judge, I just wanted to ask you one quick question. Sure. Do you have a good realtor?
Well, I don't know. I've been in my house almost 30 years. So I guess the short answer would be no, but I may need one soon. About to be an empty nester. I'm downsizing.
Oh, wow. I have a great realtor. Her name is Eleanor Cadell. If any of you guys would like a good realtor,
I would.
Call Eleanor Cadell, 313-505-4574. That is Eleanor Cadell. And I'm not telling you this because I'm on the show. She was my family realtor, my aunt's realtor, and this woman is magic. She works magic when it comes to buying and selling houses. And lastly, I want my listeners to know I have a will special going on right now. $300 for a will. I think that African Americans particularly do not have wills.
Most don't.
And what happens is siblings are fighting over rings and dishwashers and little stuff, and it tears families apart. So please, if you need a will, please call me, TataNisha Reed, 248-228-8377. 248-228-8377, and you can get a will for as little as $300, and it's for my 9-10 a.m. listeners, and it's for my Channel 38 viewers. So I thank you guys for that. And if you need a divorce or a criminal defense attorney, I am here for you. I run a general practice. I consult with other lawyers, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching Channel 38 WADL, and thank you for listening to 910 AM Superstation, the Adele Broadcast Group. I'd like to thank Denise Doty Johnson. I'd like to thank Anthony, and I'd like to thank Mr. Kevin Adele. And I'd like to thank you, too. Thank you, Judge McCree, for coming. And viewers, listeners, please watch him tonight. What time?
9 to 11, Saturday nights. No Shame with Wade McCree, right here on Superstation 910 AM.
No shame.